How many in this place, you don't know what a postman is? Just want to ask, just because we live in a new world. You know what I mean by postman? Now, how many understand you never bite the postman? No matter what he looks like. No matter how bad his service might be. You just never bite the postman, and you never allow your dog to bite the postman. And there's a reason for that. And it's not complicated. Because if there's an important letter for you, you ain't getting it. If that postman's too nervous to come near your house, you're not getting that post. And you know, when we get up here, we just simply post them.
Yeah, come on. Good word.
We just come in to deliver some mail.
Amen.
So here's the moral. Never bite the postman. Because you won't get the mail that's due to you. But if you would, as John chapter 13 verse 20 says, if you would receive whomever Jesus would send, you would receive who? You'd receive ultimately the King.
That's good.
As we were praying yesterday morning, or Friday morning now, here, I just got this thought. That came as we were praying. We serve a King who can never ever be put into checkmate. He can never be put into checkmate. Now that has got to grip your heart. Because he can never be caught off guard. He can never go, oh, I didn't see that one coming. He can never ever say, oh, I'm cornered here. I don't know how to get out of this one. We serve a King who can never be put into checkmate. The Bible says, whoever you receive once Jesus has sent him, and it says whomever. Did you see it there? The person sitting next to you could be the whomever. Your wife could be the whomever. There you go, a great amen there. Your children can be a whomever. And the Bible says if you would receive whomever Jesus would send into your world, ultimately you're not only receiving that person, but you're receiving Jesus. And then he goes on to say, and you'll receive the one who sent me. Talking about the Father. So never bite the postman. Never ever think.
Don't say you don't do.
Don't say that one either. Go to Galatians chapter 5. And something I heard this week. It says, don't let the compliments get into your head, nor the criticism into your heart. Never let the compliments get into your... I have two plectrums here. Maybe it's a good thing for me. Start playing the guitar. So never let the compliments get into your head, and don't let the criticism get into your heart. So you read this morning. There's a lot of stuff on this table. Are you ready? Galatians chapter 5, reading from verse 13. In Matthew chapter 12, it says that Jesus is speaking. He says, a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. A kingdom divided against itself. It says, neither can a house, I'm going to add a marriage, a family, a neighborhood, a team, a church, divided against itself cannot stand. The enemy works so hard to bring division into our world. And so whether it be in terms of the form of racism, which is really a spirit of division, whether it be in the form of conflict within a marriage or within a family, whether it be within a church or a business, the enemy's job is to divide. Because he knows the principle that if he can divide, he can conquer and rule. And so Jesus says, a kingdom divided against itself, he goes on to say, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And so the enemy's been working over time in our nation, in nations, but also in your world, to bring division. Why? Because he knows that if you can operate out of a spirit of division, then ultimately you will not be able to stand no matter what takes place. Galatians chapter 5. What was that? From verse 13. He says, for you, brethren, have been called to what? To liberty, to freedom. The word brethren is this word Delphos. It means one who comes from the womb. One who comes out of the womb. Now, for us as we sit here together, I just want to set a foundation, because ultimately you and I, all, if you're a born-again believer, you have come from God. The Bible says you and I, as believers, are the offspring of God. It says you are of God, little children, and have overcome them. That's the purpose of being born again, is that you're born of God. You're born from God. That makes us family. Now, you've heard the saying, you choose your friends, but you can never choose your family. But the tragedy of the world we live in is we often despise our family. Jesse did that to David. Jesse doesn't even call him in from the fields when Samuel, the man of power for the hour, is in town at the house. He thinks little Davy is just a shepherd boy. But as Ray Bolt's penned the song, when others see a shepherd boy, God will see a king. And so the person next to you, you would understand God thinks very highly of them. And they are your family. And you might not have chosen them, but God chose them. And the Bible says about you and I, it says we're a chosen generation. In other words, we are handpicked by the King who could never ever be put into checkmate. Just continue to think about that. And he's saying this word, he says, for you brethren have been called to liberty. Only do not use your liberty as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve the King. It could say the King, right? Through love serve the King, but it doesn't. It says through love serve one another. So we've landed. We've come together as one. I love what Pastor Wade said some time ago. He says, just because the aeroplane lands doesn't mean there isn't a bumpy landing. But we've come together as one. As Life Church and Lions Gate Church and Gleneagles Church, we've come together as Cedar Hill Church. One beautiful family that God has knitted together. And I really want you to catch that, because He's knitted us together like He knits an individual child. The Bible says in their mother's womb, He knits them together. He has knit us together. But, and there's some buts here. Why did we do this? Because we believe that God has spoken that oneness leads to greatness. And I'm going to add something this morning that I want us to labor on for a while. Oneness leads to greatness, but often only through a time of awkwardness. Oneness leads to greatness, but often only through a time of awkwardness. Now, the word awkward is interesting in the English language. I just wanted to really pick up on this. It means to be, watch this, ungraceful. Now, I want you to be aware of it. It means uncomfortable. It means uneasy. It means not cool. It means not nice. It means graceless. And it means ungraceful in the English dictionary. Now, why is it so important that we understand this? Because oneness leads to greatness, but often it's after a time of awkwardness. And you paint the picture, I'm not going to paint it too vividly. When a husband and a wife come together in the act of sex, and people want to go, oh, that's exciting. There's a celebration time in that moment. There's time that is great. But after they're expecting, or after they're planning to experience a child, there's often this time of awkwardness. that happens. I'm not a woman. Thank you. Yeah? But how do you understand that there can be a time when nothing seems to be happening? They've come together in that beautiful act that God's created between a husband and a wife. They've come together in this communion, in this place of intimacy, and it's beautiful and magnificent, but then afterwards, it's like nothing seems to be happening. Yes, no, maybe. Now I'm speaking on the moms that, how many know for the first few weeks, nothing seems to be happening? But something is happening. Something's been conceived. Something, and that something is greatness, is coming forth. But nothing seems to be happening. After a short time, and again, I'm not sure how this all works. And women are different, and ladies are different, and moms are different, but a lot of women experience this uncomfortable thing called what? I don't know why it's morning sickness. Sometimes it's all day, 24-hour day sickness. But at this moment, we've had the beauty of oneness, we've had the beauty of coming together, nothing seems to be happening. And then suddenly it's like one, there's like, stay away from me. It's like, you know what, I'm not even interested in being around you because and there's this awkwardness of this thing called morning sickness or evening sickness or 24-hour sickness, but there's this sense of the fact that there's this, how is that producing greatness? How are we getting greatness out of that?
That's so good. So good.
Something's happening.
That's right.
Something's taking place.
Sure.
I could label this, preach, don't bite the postman, but I really want to label oneness leads to greatness, often only through a time of awkwardness. Let's continue reading Galatians chapter 5. In verse 14, for all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, Paul's writing to the church in Galatia, he's saying, guys, don't bite one another.
Sure.
Now, he's not literally saying don't do a Mike Tyson on you. Right to erase that one. Or I spoke to a guy on Friday. I was in Durban and spoke to a guy who was serving me at the moment, and I asked him, I said, I noticed just your accent's foreign. Where are you from? He said, I'm from Ghana. I said, that's a long way to come. I said, how long have you been here? He said, he's been here for the last 30 years. I said, oh, so you were here in 2010. I didn't have to explain it anymore because for a Ghanaian, they know exactly what 2010 was. And there was a guy, I'm not going to mention his name, I've heard it's been already mentioned across on my right here. But he stopped the Ghanaians from reaching ultimately the quarterfinals or semifinals. And it was the semifinals. By using his hands. You might say, what's wrong with that? He wasn't the goalkeeper. And when you actually look at the replay of that, when the ref sent him off, he did this. He went, like, what did I do wrong? But he was a guy that used to bite people. Don't mention his name. If you don't know his name, that's fine. But he was guilty of biting people on the soccer field. He just launched it up. So when Paul's writing, he's not saying don't go around biting one another, but he's referring to something. Ever heard of back biting? Let's see what he says here. He says, if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another. I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another. So that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the Spirit, you're not under the law. Now the works of the flesh, notice he says the works of the, what is the flesh? It's your carnal desires. It's your desires to do things that are not of the Spirit. It's just simply, he doesn't say these are the works of the devil. We would kind of want to blame the devil often, and people have done that, and we've often been guilty of doing that even ourselves. We go, the devil made me do it. He says, these are the works of the flesh, and they're evident. They're adultery, they're fornication, they're uncleanness, they're lewdness. Lewdness means you do whatever you want. You just literally just cast off restraint and do whatever you want. Idolatry and sorcery and hatred. Contentions. The word contentions is the word divisions or discord. Jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissensions, and heresies, and envy, and murders, and drunkenness, and revelries, and the like, of which I tell you beforehand, just as I also told you in time past, that those, I want us to read this together, come on, those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. Those who practice. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, and joy, and peace, and long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. And those who are Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. For if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited and provoking one another. Let us come to provoking one another and envying one another. The Bible says we're not to bite and devour one another. And what does that look like in the context of us coming together? I think it looks something like this. The Bible says that part of the works of the flesh are divisions, dissensions, heresies, seditions. They're things that ultimately creep in. And we just think, but it's just a little bite. I'm thinking of this gentleman who hit this guy on the shoulder. It was in the middle of a game. And when this guy exposed the bite mark, and they saw it on the screen, he was like almost like, I didn't do that bad. It wasn't like, in that moment he might have been saying the devil made me do it. But his attitude was, but it wasn't that big a bite, it was just a little bite. No matter how the little bite looks, no matter how the little bite feels, don't bite the postman. And the postman could be the person sitting right next to you or behind you. They could have been sent from another part of the family to come and join with us. So this oneness, we're expecting greatness, aren't we? And we come on a Sunday and we go, so where's the greatness? Do you know part of the greatness is just gathering together as three original different churches and just coming and being this one. I was watching on the internet and there was this advert, and the Mormon church in America had this massive conference. And you know what their theme was? Be one. And I was going, whoa, it's catchy. Stuff's happening in this world. And they were interviewing people afterwards, and how do you feel? They said, it was so great to come together and just to worship together and just to be one. And the whole theme of the conference was to be one. Sure. And God has called us to be one. Yes. But what happens? Doesn't seem to be manifesting greatness yet. What happens? Relationship is there comes a time of intimacy. It's often from a wife's perspective, because Sorry for you. You wanted this greatness? You have to wait. And so there's this awkward moment between a husband and wife couple because there's greatness on the way, but now there's a lack of intimacy. Now it looks like this relationship, and we're just doing chores, and we're just doing, and all we're doing is working. Greatness is on the way. Greatness. There's a doesn't matter. There's a complaining. Why? When we 1 Corinthians chapter 10. I want you to go there. 10. Do you remember the time that everyone came out of Egypt with great joy? In fact, the Bible says that there was no one feeble among them. There was supernatural healing that took place. So people weren't limping out of Egypt. They were walking out of Egypt no matter what their age was. There was a spring in their step, there was a glide in their stride, there was a smile in the dark here of Tim's story from many, many years ago. And literally what was happening there was this great enthusiasm, this great joy for leaving the place of bondage. Yeah. And they've seen their enemies being defeated in the Red Sea, and they've seen provision, and they've seen the greatness of God manifesting through a pillar of fire by night. And they've seen greatness. And yet they start to wonder. And as they wonder, they wonder. Because you and I, we've come together, and we're in this place. And maybe you start to wonder. And you can be wondering about wondering. And they turn to Moses and they say these things. Oh, if you hadn't brought us here. Oh, if we could go back. When we used to eat onions and garlic and I don't know what they actually Portuguese, okay. They're Portuguese. But they talk about the abundance that they had. Hello? It was a land of not enough. There was not enough straw, and not enough clay, and not enough bricks, and not enough food, and not enough, and not enough. It was a land of not enough. Now God brings them into this place of just enough. But I heard the amazing thing, the wonder of the God we serve. The Bible says that their clothes did not wear out. Now we go, no. As a 5-year-old child coming out of Egypt, as that child grew, ladies, you might say, one set of clothes. Doesn't do me, eh? But what about a child that had a size 3 and grew to size 4? And the dad and mom came, they're out of their sandals. Well, where are we going to find a shoe shop? There was a supernatural growing of even their clothes. Because God shall supply all of your needs. And we can get that in our hearts and get that in our minds and get that in our lives, that no matter what it looks like, but God, you said you'll supply everything you need. You see, they came to this place where they began to complain. And the Bible says about them that they wanted to go better back in the land of Goshen. It was better in the land of Egypt. It was better when we were slaves under that place. I'm not suggesting that we came from slave stuff. So I think the 3 churches that gathered together here were beautiful. But God's called us to something more magnificent. He's called us to something greater. And in the midst of this, we can go, but what about the coffee shop that you used to have coffee after church in the street? The way Pastor hugs you so tightly. And for some reason, but we go to God. Can you see it there? It talks about some of these are being given as examples for us. Morality, and it talks about down there, verse 9. Okay, and it says there, don't tempt Christ as someone else tempted and were destroyed by serpents, nor, verse 10, nor what? Complain. There are no complaints department in this church. And if you do come with one, they closed down a long time ago. It expired yesterday. The day for complaining expired yesterday. As it's mentioned on the mug, but it's very sorry. But it says, some of them also complained and they were destroyed by the destroyer.
Yeah.
Now, that says that needs to be an example for us.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
You say amen or me. In Psalm 77, it says that when we complain, our spirits are overwhelmed. When we complain, Psalm 77, in fact, just have a look at that because I want you to go to 77:3. Just go there. Maybe on the screen, you have to go any devices. It says, when we complain, it says our spirits are overwhelmed. Just carry on going. By his enemies and boasted when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there's no pains in their death, the strength is firm. Okay. They're not in trouble as other men, or plagued like other men. The verse? Oh, 77, sorry. Did I say 77:3?
Yeah. You did.
I did. I got that one right. That's 73. 77. Okay. 773. I remembered God and was troubled. Watch this. I complained. Not I remembered God. I was troubled, but I worshipped Him. But I blessed Him. But I thanked Him. But I gave Him my best. He says, I complained and my spirit was overwhelmed. When we complain, our spirits become overwhelmed. Doesn't say our minds, doesn't say our physical bodies, although that will happen down the road. It says our spirits were overwhelmed. So, as we begin to land this thing, and it's still a bumpy land, but that's okay, we landed. Are you good with that? Okay, there's this time of awkwardness. There's complaining, there's wanting to go back. It's your fault. Why did we do this? I'm reminding us again. Because truth not rehearsed. Come on, for those that are last kids at school, is soon forgotten. Truth not rehearsed is soon forgotten. So what does it mean that we're not to bite or devour one another? What does that really mean? James chapter 3. James chapter 3. If I had to say to you, explain to me backbiting. Not one of you would say this to me. Well, it's when you get around someone behind your back. And you put your teeth into their back. Am I right? Everyone understands what backbiting means. Everyone understands there's a synonym for backbiting. Come on, give it to me. Gossip. Come on, anyone else? Slander. Anybody else? Discord? Division? Okay.
Watch what it says here in James chapter 3. It says, my brethren, let not many of you become teachers. It was very interesting, the literary word in the Strong's Concordance is this word censor. It means to examine and remove, especially those things that are evil, and we need to have good censorship. But the other part is the word reprover, and the word reprover means to criticize or to bring correction. And we live in a world where we think we have been ordained to have an opinion, and post it, and send it, and discuss it. And I'm not suggesting you don't, but make sure that it lines up with God's will and God's word for you. Yes, we want people to be critical thinkers. Yes, we want people to think. Yes, we don't want people to say, oh, the pastor said it. Oh, the man of God. no, we don't want people to operate like that. We want people, you want to think, but be careful what happens after the thinking. And so it says, be careful. It says, my brethren, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that you will receive a stricter judgment. For we all stumble in many things. Yes, no, maybe? Watch this. But if anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, also able to bridle the whole. Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their whole body. Look also at ships. Although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot desires. Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. I heard a story the other day about a father and his son. They went into a national park in America to send off rockets, or to ignite rockets. And the wind was blowing pretty hectic that day. And what happened was a little spark got away from them. And literally, it ended up burning thousands of acres of that national forest. They are now facing some federal, conviction. And they could end up in jail because of that. One little spark can burn a whole forest down. And he's saying the tongue is like this. The tongue has this ability to burn things down, to destroy things. He says the tongue is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature. And guess how it's set on fire?
By hell.
By an enemy. Even by hell. For every kind of beast and bird or reptile and creature of the sea is tamed as between the tongue, but no man can tame the tongue. It requires the intervention of the Holy Spirit to tame the tongue, full of deadly poison. With it we bless our God and Father. God and Father. And everyone's okay with that one, right? Everyone's okay with blessing God and worshiping God together, but watch what it carries on to say. And with it, what do we do? Who do we curse? People that have been made in the image of our Father. And that's our neighbor. He says we're to love our neighbor as ourselves. So what is the challenge for us here this morning? The challenge for me is I see us coming together in this beauty and this splendor, this magnificence, but we've got to be careful that the lack of greatness in this time of awkwardness. You see, church, we have not got things together yet properly in terms of flows, in terms of systems, in terms of stuff. We've dropped some balls. But can you still love us in the process? Can you still work with us? Can you still serve in the midst of that? Yes, you weren't greeted by your favorite greeter. Because he was found somewhere else or she was found somebody else. But can you still say, you know what, I'm here, God, to serve you and to serve one another. And yet grow together. Because in the midst of this awkwardness, and it's still this awkward. Because I guarantee there were people that came, we're getting together. And remember the first day we came? 700 people here. Some of them are like coming just to check out, to spy the land. Okay? But the point is, we came together and there was this enthusiasm, and there still is, it hasn't dissipated. I need to say, just in terms of the worship, and just in terms of the praise, there's enthusiasm here, there's excitement here. But we can start to linger, and we can start to wonder, and we can start to go, but I thought this could be so much greater. I'm telling you it is. You see, a woman carries this greatness. Why? Because every child that's ever been born on the planet, God looks and says, greatness. And you might look in the mirror and go, oh. God looks in the mirror and goes, wow. He looks at you and goes, wow. Because you're made in His image. You're made just like Him. You're born of Him. And so as we come together in this family, there's this greatness. But as you carry this child, it looks like it gets worse. Come on. Especially for the woman. Or however it happens. My wife did not do that. She's explaining. She was strong and courageous. When Jared was about to come out, she watered the plants, made sure they were ready. I was up in Freya. She reminds me of this often. watered the plants, made sure, once the waters are broken, I'm talking about, made sure everything was fine, shipped herself off to hospital, and waited for me. But for some, it's like back aches, it's like shoulder aches, it's like awkward. There's no intimacy, there's no connection. It just seems like we're just going our separate ways at the moment. It's just awkward. But just wait, because it's about to happen. It's about to come. It's about to happen. And so, it's God our conversations. It's not like your Proverbs 6 where it says that there's 7 things, or 6 things that God hates, and yes, 7 is an abomination, and the 7th one is sowing discord, or division, or strife among the brethren. Let us be like Ephesians chapter 4, we'll close with that scripture. Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4. And some of the musicians would be able to come. Just think of this. Just don't hide this. Call you by name. Ephesians chapter 4. Man. Thank you, Judy. The word discord in Proverbs chapter 6 is the word that involves strife. Do you know when I looked up the English dictionary definition of the word strife, it means infighting? You know that, right? It means division. But then you know that I find a whole lot of dissonance. It means disharmony. It means dissent. It means union, and it even means discord. You know when we diss one another? That's what we do. We bring. Ephesians chapter 4 says, let no corrupt word proceed out of our mouths, but only what is good for necessary. Look at that word. What's that word mean? Necessary edification. It says let no corrupt word. It says let no corrupt word proceed out of our mouths. It says let no corrupt word proceed out of our mouths. Let no hurting word, foul language, involves a lot of things, but it says only release out of your mouth what is good for building up, edification, building up. You see, unless the Lord builds the house, those who labor in vain. God is building this house, but He doesn't build it by Himself. He's called every one of us to play a part. We've all called to be built. And so what we understand is unless He builds, we're going to labor in vain. So we're good that He's building, but there's a part we've got to do. There's a part we've got to play. And the Bible says in Ephesians chapter 4, it says everyone needs to play their part. Everyone needs to partake. Everyone needs to do their share. And one of the greatest things everyone can do, because you might say, but well, what can I do? What can you not do? Just with your mouth, you can bless this place. Just with your mouth, you can pray for this team. Just with your mouth, you can pray for. Just with your mouth, you can literally build and not break down. It says, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, what? That it might bestow or it might impart grace to the hearer. Do you remember I said there was a word? The word awkward. And the dictionary definition of that word involves the word, who remembers? Ungraceful. Ungraceful. Can we be a people that in this awkward maybe time that you find yourself, and for some it's like awkward time, there's no awkward time. You see, for a husband, it can be very long awkward time sometimes in the birthing of greatness. It's like life carries on, except for those few moments where he goes, and the wife says, there's a stick. Chew on that. But he goes about, and it always amazes me how the husband or the dad gets the pat on the back. Congratulations. sowed a seed. And you had fun doing it.
That's not right.
That's my point. It says that our conversations need to bestow grace. Upon who? Upon the ones we're talking to. Or we're talking about. Because how do you know that words are spiritual? And the person might not be in your physical space, but because they're spiritual, they go. The Bible says we to bestow grace upon the hearers. We to bestow grace. And so in this awkward time, let us be not sowing discord, sowing division, saying what are we to do? We said it was going to be great. No, let us continue. Father, thank you for your grace manifesting. Thank you for your greatness manifesting. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you that you're holding and strengthening. Thank you, God, for bringing us together. Greater giftings, greater opportunities, greater. Let us bestow grace. Can you stand with your feet together with me? Would you just worship Him for a moment? Would you just worship Him? Won't you bless Him? Just as your heads bowed, eyes are closed, what is God saying to you? Is there a place that you say, God, thank you for reminding me? Is there a place where you say this morning, God, you know, I've got to be honest, and you've always got to be honest with Him. I've been messing up in this area. I've been criticizing, I've been dissing. And Lord, please forgive me. Is there a place this morning as the Spirit of God comes just for you? He's reminding you of your place here. To bless. And so, Father, this morning we thank you for reminding us what our role is in so many aspects. When it comes to our conversations and our prayers and the words that we speak. And so, Lord, I thank you for grace, your ability upon us that is manifesting even right now. And I thank you, Lord, for what you're doing. As we receive that strength, as we receive that equipping, as we receive that conviction, as we receive those truths.
I want to say this. Mark's word this morning was phenomenal. It really was. It's a word for us now in this place, in this season. And it's a word to us that is so important. So this is what's going to happen. This sermon is going to be probably ready by Wednesday. It's going to be on our Cedar Hill Facebook page. And I need you to go and to share that. Because there are people this morning that were not here for whatever reason. They need to listen to this. This is a word for us. This is a family word. You know that moment when Dad says, "Hey, boys, in the lounge." It's one of those words. And it's a word that we need to carry in our hearts. And it's a word that needs to define the season that we're coming into. And I want to encourage you. Go find this word this week. It'll be in our Cedar Hill Facebook page. We'll get it out. We'll send out some things. Because I feel like it's the word we need to listen to. We need to get in our hearts. We need to get in our spirits together as a family.